That's back on where it needs to be. Where's it supposed to be? All right. Hey there. Welcome to How to Fill Your Event with Premium Buyers Using Facebook Ads. I would like for you to drop in the chat before we get started. Let me know if you have ran Facebook ads before, put have in the comments. If you have ran Facebook ads, if you haven't ran Facebook ads yet, put haven't in the chat. And let me know how many of you guys have ran ads and how many of you guys have not ran ads. And then in addition to that, I'd love to know how many of you guys are currently running some sort of event. Drop in the chat if that is a masterclass or a webinar. Maybe you're doing workshops, boot camps, whatever that is. One word is totally fine. Drop that in the chat and let us all know what type of event you're running. And we will get started here in just a second. Right. While you guys are doing that, you are in the right room if you are either an expert, an author, a speaker, a coach, a service provider, a freelancer, or even an agency owner. What I'm about to share with you works for all of you. Service providers, whether you're like in the health or wellness space, we've used this strategy with doctors and IV clinics and med spas. We've used this tactic for international best-selling authors, for coaches from, the health and wellness space to the business space. Also for agency owners, if you're doing funnels or websites or digital marketing, these strategies are for you. This is for anyone who is running or wants to use webinars, masterclasses, boot camps, workshops, or any sort of free or low ticket live or evergreen event to sell a high ticket offer. The nuance here is that high ticket is really king when it comes to using Facebook advertising. And if you're doing an SLO offer, self-liquidating offer, or any sort of low ticket course, this will also work, but I specifically designed this for those that are selling high ticket offers. If you're not doing high ticket, I highly suggest that you do look into selling high ticket because it will make your life so much easier. That being said, when it comes to filling events, what options do you have? Let's see. Let me begin here. Okay. You either can earn the traffic into your funnel, the registrants, or you can buy them. When you earn them, you're either going to be posting or emailing a list or doing podcast interviews, going live on social media, networking in person. It's very time intensive. You often it leads to inconsistent lead generation, a lot of burnout of your list. If you're emailing your list constantly again and again and again, it tends to get tired of hearing about the same offers over and over again. And so this can lead to burnout. You can also burn your audience out, right? Like if you feel like you're just screaming into the void and no one's paying attention and you're like, oh my gosh, they keep hearing about the same thing again and again. This also leads to you feeling like you constantly have to change offers because you're speaking to the same people again and again, because often organic lead generation strategies like content posting and interviews, you can't regenerate your list fast enough for the amount of times that you are like launching products or these masterclasses and webinars. So if you're having to change the name of the system or change the type of system that you're running because you often feel like you have to keep like making new shiny objects for people to opt into. And it often, and then when you are like, okay, I'm going to finally try to do some paid traffic, most of the time people start with Facebook advertising, it starts feeling like gambling. You're just like, okay, I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'm putting money in the slot machine. I'm pulling the lever. I'm spending money, but I don't know if I'm getting anything out of it. It also can be really confusing to set up because there's a lot of options and buttons to push. And then, let alone trying to set up the business manager in Meta is super, super confusing. When you start running the ads, you're looking at all these metrics in the dashboard. What is a CPM? What is the, you know, CTR? What are these like numbers actually mean? And how do I use them to get where I want to go? Then there's the question of targeting, because way back when we used to do a lot of, and I'll talk about this here in a bit, we used to do a lot of very specific targeting. And now it can be really confusing because you think you have to do that still, but there's also a different way that we're doing it. Then, if you do happen to get leads, how do you know if they're good quality leads? Maybe they don't show up to webinars, maybe this or that for whatever reason, they end up being low quality, they don't buy, they don't have money. And then, with all that being said, it can feel very, very expensive to run Facebook ads when you don't know what to do because there's really an art and science to it. And I'm going to dive into that here today. So my name is Keely Stwicky. I am the queen of Facebook advertising. I'm an international best-selling author and speaker. I'm the CEO of Feral Queen Media. We manage over $750,000 in ad spend, and I have 10 plus years in paid advertising. And all that being said, what I'm going to be sharing with you today is not what's called boosting. A lot of people confuse Facebook advertising with boosting a post on social media, and that is not this. If nothing else, I'd love for you to type in the chat, no, I promise, but I promise to never boost a post ever again. Just type it in the chat for me because the best thing you can do for yourself is to never, ever again boost another post. All right, so a little bit of motivation for you because a lot of people say that Facebook ads don't work. And the cool thing about Facebook ads is that they really do work. And there is magic to it. I'm going to share with you lots and lots of case studies today that will show you the magic of this entire system. When you know how to set up Facebook ads or when you invest in having them done by someone that knows how to do them, they can be incredibly profitable. And so generally, when we run ads to fill events, we can get people, depending on the industry, right? Like we run ads for a lot of different industries and niches. And so they can range from anywhere from like $1.50 per a registrant to like in the most expensive of industries, like $20 per registrant. And again, we're talking about, a free offer. If we're going into ticket sales, that is a whole different conversation and entirely different math. But right now we're using a free event. So we're just going to average it out at $5. That is off. That is going to be a little bit high for many of you. Some of you maybe will get leads for more like $1.50, $2, and some of you might be a little bit low where you'll end up paying, $7 to $9 per lead. But regardless, if you want 400 people to register for your masterclass, you're going to spend about $2,000. 20% of those people are going to show up. That is 80 people on the webinar, right, of 400. And that may seem like a lot of loss, but remember, things come up. You're going to do this again and again. You can now recapture those 320 people. And they're going to be on your newsletter. You can invite them to the next one. There's times where when I was running, I used to run it was a paid challenge, but it was like a how to go viral on TikTok challenge. And there are people that would sign up and then don't show up. And then 4 months later, sign up again and be like, oh, yeah, I just couldn't make it. And I've been seeing it for many months. And finally, this is the month that I'm going to be able to like actually show up. So don't get discouraged. People sometimes need to hear about it again and again and again and again and again until they actually show up. But again, if you have 80 people on that webinar, most of the time, if you're even halfway decent at sales, you'll have a 20% sales rate, or at least 20 people will book a call with you. And then the numbers might, depending on how you're selling, might be a little different, but you'll have 16 people of those 80 people that show up actually buy. Now, whatever your high ticket is, how much money would that be for you? So a few of my clients have $2,000 offers, which isn't super high ticket. But if each webinar you did, you had 16 people buy, that's $32,000. And you only spent $2,000 on Facebook ads, right? And granted, if you, in this case, it would be really stupid for this business to, and I'm just gonna say it bluntly, like it would be really stupid for them to be running these ads themselves. Because if you're going to be making $30,000 every time you do your webinar, you would just pay someone to run your ads, right? Because if you did this webinar every week or once a month or every other week, you'd be having easy 5 to 6 figure months. Does that make sense, everybody? Cool. So this is just a little proof of one of the ad accounts that we run ads for. Because yeah, we run a lot, we manage a lot of ad spend and have been doing this for a really long time. And this system works. We would not be spending this amount of money if we weren't getting results. And the cool thing about Facebook ads, which I'm not going to touch on today, but I want to show you the magic of them and the power of what you can do. You can reach a ton of people on a low budget. This client only spent a few $100s a month on this certain type of campaign. They wanted to reach a lot of people and build a lot of brand awareness in their location, and they would reach an entire city's worth of people every single month. You can generate a lot of leads. This client was getting a 13 times ROI on all of these leads we were generating for them every month. You can build a huge email list super, super fast. This client gets leads for less than $1 on a lot of their campaigns. You can sell courses, and this is a SLO offer, a self-liquidating offer. So these are low ticket courses. You can fill your events, of course. This client, again, is one of the lucky ones that's able to get leads for under $2. But the reason, if you ran ads before and you're like, oh, I never got any results similar to that, we're going to go through some of the common mistakes. One of them is if you have a brand new ad account, a lot of times people, you'll set up the ad account, you'll be all excited, and you watch a YouTube video and you put everything in there and you're all excited that it's gonna oh my gosh, this is the thing that's gonna work out. I'm like so excited about it. And then you spend maybe $100, $200, and you're like, nothing's happening. Well, there's actually a little bit of process that you have to go through to warm up the ad account. So what we often do is we take a series of either some video content or some organic posts that did well previously, and we feed that into the account and set it up in a specific way to make it so the account can start learning who the target audience is, and it makes it a little bit easier for the account to start producing results. A lot of people give up too soon. There's that story about the miner being 3 feet from gold. I think it's even in the Acres of Diamonds book where, they're mining, and they get tired and then they're like, oh, this is, and they give up. And the next person comes in and they were like 3 feet from the gold. So don't give up too early. Or what tends to happen is they come in and they've been told there's a lot of gurus. And there's also, the old way of running ads. The algorithm and the platform has changed so much over the years that there used to be this really common rhetoric of like, okay, you have to have you have to spend at least $1,000 before you even look at your ads. Or, some agencies require that you spend at least 5,000 in the first month. And I have a belief that if it doesn't convert at $100, it's not going to convert at $1,000. And so if you're not getting the results that you want at $100, then there are some adjustments to make. Granted, that being said, if we first need to warm up the account. So if you have a brand new baby account, there are some little things you got to do to get it producing. But once it's warmed up and has produced some events or results and for your events, then you can micro test in a way where you can find working messaging angles and working ads and get them to produce some results before you start spending too much money. So there's no reason to spend $1,000, no reason to spend $5,000, because if it doesn't convert at $100, it's not going to convert at $1,000. All right. So the first thing we really need to understand about the new age of social media marketing is that there is this thing happening called the trust recession. And the way I like to look at this is there's two mountains. On the first mountain, there is your ideal client, and they're standing there and they're like, help, I need help. And then you're over on the other mountain teetering on your business, because I thought that was so funny, teetering with your business over there. And you're like, hey, I can help you. But the problem is that they're too afraid to come over to you because of all these little things in the pit there. You have got misinformation, you've got AI, you've got scams, you've got fake news, you've got, gurus and their scams and whatever, So there's a lot of fear happening. And so what you have to do is build a bridge. And this bridge is trust. Now, the thing is trust is really easy to lose and it's hard to gain. And so when we look at marketing our business, we want to make sure that we do three things. How many things? That's right, three things to help build trust. Because if you can build trust, and some people call it, know, like, and trust, right? Like know, like, and trust is a common buzz phrase in the marketing world. But I believe trust is the biggest thing because, you are you. People are already going to like you. And you're probably out there already sharing your knowledge because you're really amazing and the expert at what you do. But the piece that you're in, if you feel like you're still the best kept secret, the thing that's probably missing is trust. And it's not your fault. It's just you haven't learned the skill of how to build trust in the online space. So here's what we're going to do. This is a system that I developed. It's called Event Rush. It's kind of like Table Rush, but it's called Event Rush. And it helps when you knock down those dominoes and build the bridge of trust, people are going to flood to your event. So the first thing we have to do, remember I said how many things are there? Right, there's three things. The first thing we have to do is build a magnetic message. Type magnetic message in the chat for me, please. That's right, and a magnetic message. The old way was we would do something called micro-targeting. And this meant that we didn't have to do such a great job of messaging. We didn't have to focus so much on what was being said because we used to be able to, remember, this is the old way. We used to be able to tell Facebook with so much precision. It was wild. You could literally be like, okay, my friend works at, say, Coca-Cola, and they are I don't know, let's just say CMO or whatever. You could literally target the CMO of Coca-Cola with a Facebook ad. It'd be pretty cool to know the CMO of Coca-Cola. But you could target that person. And so the Facebook ad gurus, we used to say that, learn everything about them, where they shop, what magazines they're reading, what TV shows they're watching, put all of that data into Facebook and micro target the heck out of them. Well, nowadays we don't do that. We can't even do that with the new algorithm. The AI that Meta is using, the new algorithm, was it called? Andromeda, I think that's what it's called. They want you to do a different type of targeting. And so with that different type of targeting, we now have to get better at our messaging. And so what we do before we build out the messaging, which is anything said or done in the ads, anything in the creative, which is the video or images, and anything said in the copy. And so we need to be able to speak really, really clearly to our the ideal people that we want to opt in for our event because the AI is going to match what the data they know, what they know about the users on the platform with, and it's going to read the copy and hear, like watch your video from behind the scenes and see any imagery or text in your images and match it with the ideal person that's going to respond to it. It's crazy. But that means that creative and the message is everything. Does that make sense? So what we do is we ask these hard questions. There's 3 questions. How many questions? 3. That's right. So the first question, and these are the exact questions that I ask my clients when we onboard our clients into my agency. So you're getting these questions for free. You can do this all yourself now. The first question is, why do your best clients choose you over someone cheaper, even when they had other good options? So this is really, diving into what makes your process and your business unique. And you can't say, oh, it's just because they like me. No, no, no. Like this won't just be a one-word answer. This is going to be like, we invest in the best machinery. We make them feel good the moment they walk through the door. Um, my clients actually get results, like really dig deep. And what we often do is we'll do this for the overall business and then we'll do it for the event itself. Why would they sign up for your masterclass or your workshop over somebody else's? And sometimes it's a hard question to answer. And a lot of times, like even I struggle to answer this for myself because we're often like, right, we're like so close to the thing, like our business, our baby. And that's often really hard to answer this for ourselves, which is why all experts have coaches and mentors because we often need people to be able to point out our blind spots. All right, number 2, right before someone hires or buys from you, what is actually happening in their business or their life that makes them say, I can't keep doing this way? So back when I first began, I call these the bathtub questions. And I would basically say, like, what are the things that they're struggling with? And we had to come up with a better, deeper way to say that. So this is it. This is the question that we ask. Right before they hire you, what is the thing that's happening in their business or their life that makes them say, I can't keep doing it this way? So if you're like a wellness coach or you work with someone that struggles with weight, they're like, well, maybe their favorite dress doesn't fit them anymore. Or they went to do something with a family member and they found they physically couldn't do it, right? Maybe in their life, they had an unexpected bill and they're struggling to get clients and they can't pay the bill. Like these are intimate little moments. Okay, number 3. If this worked perfectly, what would success actually look like in their real life, not just in terms of numbers? Because a lot of times we're like, oh, well, if they hire me, they'll make $100,000, or if they do this thing, they'll lose 5 pounds. Like, what is beyond that? Bathtub questions. So again, think about in terms of this. These are questions that these are like real life situations that they're going to have like woes over or like aspirations for. And they came home from a hard day or whatever, or it's like the end of the day, right? We're all entrepreneurs. So they came home from work and they had like a horrible day and they get in the bathtub with a glass of wine. Like put it in that perspective. Like what is the aspirations? And again, the struggles. What are the things that they're struggling with? Cool. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be really tempted to shove this through AI. And I tell you what, AI sometimes produces great stuff, but sometimes just like you can just tell it's AI and everybody starts sounding the same. And also, if you all start sounding the same, Facebook isn't going to know who to show the ads to because you all just sound the same. So avoid using 100% AI generated messaging. We use it to get ideas and kind of build concepts out, but use your noggin. Like, really spend some time with this because this is the number one thing that will make or break the success of your campaigns. Okay, number two. How many things are there? There's three, but this is number two. Number two, the creative. This is a term that we have kind of coined in my agency. It basically replaces what we used to call hook testing. And so what we used to do in the old way of running Facebook ads is we would take static images like from Canva, and we'd have the same image, but we would test different headlines. Well, now what's happening is that we need many different styles of creative, because if you do this, even though the text is different, Facebook is going to think it's all the same because there's not too much of it is different. It wants you to create entirely different content. And this will help be able to figure out what message is working, what style of content works the best. And oftentimes, the like people on Facebook that are seeing your ads, they will see one ad and then another. You can't control which they see first, but they will see one ad and then another and then another. And so having that variety is really important. And so this has led, we used this strategy with a gluten-free baking expert authority, a gluten-free baker that has a program. And in her webinar, we got her almost $1 leads, 2,700 of them for 20, like just over 2,700 bucks. And with these leads through her masterclass, she had a six-figure launch. She made over $100,000 from the sales of the people that registered into her masterclass. Now, what we used was compliant UGC videos. UGC stands for user generated content. These are, we work with we have certain creators that we really like to work with. They're not necessarily influencers, but they're just really good at making this certain style of video content for us. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, just came out with new regulations around UGC videos. It's kind of like when you see a TV, like a TV commercial, and it's like, this is a paid actor or not a paid actor. Like, they require them to say that, and now they're starting to require us to do that for when we pay people to make these testimonial style videos. They're not so much testimonial, but it's like if you send a product to somebody, and they were paid it for making that video. There's certain regulations now around like how transparent you are about those videos. So we have certain ways that we make compliant UGC videos for clients. The other thing we do is we also create brand awareness images. So these are still Canva style images, but we make variations that are like specific to a specific style. So the idea here is that we want it to still look like something that a friend would post. We don't want it to look too professional. We don't want it to look like an ad. We kind of hide ads. We make ads that don't look like ads. That's kind of the idea there. But you still can use a Canva style image. And then we use scripted face to camera videos. So we have this creative stack of these three different types of creative, and they tend to work really well together. So the scripted face to camera would be you, the expert. And it's not so much like, I believe the social media is sick of people being like, hey, you want to make $1 million? This is how you do it. Like all bro marketing-esque. We don't really do that anymore. So we script the videos out using a very specific system, script that we follow. It's called Hook Story Learn More. Kind of like Russell Brunson's Hook Story Offer, but we call it Hook Story Learn More. And so what we do is we develop 10 marketing hooks. And then from those 10, we'll choose maybe two or three. And then we'll create a story to go with it. And again, we're wanting to fill events. So we're going to tell a story that relates back to why they should join your event. And then, of course, the call to action is always learn more. Not sign up, not download, not definitely not sign up. Just learn more. Always learn more. Okay. So the last principle here that we use is called date. And the reason this is so important is because a lot of times when people run Facebook ads and they don't work out, it's because they set it up asking Facebook to sell their high ticket offer straight to the ad, or have someone sign up to book a call right from the ad. And you have to realize these are strangers on social media. So let's equate this to dating, right? Imagine you went to, or we'll get to the dating analogy, but imagine you went to a networking event and you walked in the room, and the first thing you did was walk up to someone and been like, hey, I have this $5,000 program. It does X, Y, and Z. Buy it from me. And you went around the room and did that to everybody. Imagine, I bet after the third or fifth or whatever person, someone would kick you out, right? It's like, that's creepy and that's gross. And imagine you went to a speed dating event and you were just like, every guy or girl you walked up to, you're just like, hey, will you marry me? 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 Right? Like that's like creepy. You have to go through the process of building a relationship. But how do you do that with Facebook ads? The old way was we would use a system called retargeting. And over the last, this is like a new change. Over the last 6 months, we've seen our retargeting campaigns tank. And we used to have like decent budgets that we'd give retargeting campaigns. You could do things like create custom audiences and lookalike audiences, and you'd retarget video views and website visitors and you know your email list. And now with the way the algorithm's set up, it's better to not do that. Those people that end up touching your page or your website, they tend to be caught into they get caught up in Meta's algorithm without you even doing anything. So what do you do if that's the case? What do you do to be able to warm them up? And so this is the exact process that I actually used on this masterclass. This was taken before I did this yesterday before this event, but I spent about $129 and got 15 leads. And again, this was impromptu. Like we had really poor follow-up systems in place, really ugly ads. Like we just kind of threw this up there because we have an event coming up, and we were like, well, let's do a masterclass. The team's like super busy with that event, and these are the results we got. But we took even you being here live, like you were taken through this process, um, called TMB. So it's top, middle, bottom of funnel. So you have to remember that the first thing you have to do is you create awareness. Like you were all strangers to me a minute ago, or like an hour ago. I mean, how long has it been? 35 minutes. You were all strangers, or even before you opted in, like stranger. Like who the heck is Keely, the queen of Facebook ads? And then at the middle of the funnel, these are people who are like, well, I've seen you around. I saw that you did this event, or I saw you here. And those are people in the engagement realm. And then bottom of funnel is like, okay, let's do this. I'm ready. And these are people ready for action. So another way to look at this is you've got strangers, people that don't know anything about you. And then from there, you've got acquaintances, and then you've got your besties at the bottom of the funnel. And the goal here is to strategically move people from being strangers to being acquaintances to being besties or buyers, if you want to put it that way. So the best way to do this is to utilize follow-up systems. I didn't add a slide here. Apparently, I got tired and forgot that one. But you need follow-up systems, and a lot of people forget that. They're like, oh, I just have people opt in and that's that. But nowadays with AI and all of the distractions in the world, show up rates to events have gone down. It used to be that they'd say like 40% of people would show up to a masterclass or a free event. And now sometimes we see as low as like 10, 15, 20%. And so when you have follow-up systems in place, again, I wish I made a little slide for you guys, but you can use things like, if you're using Go High Level, you can use AI voice drops. You can use SMS.
having email sequences, use like add to calendar so people add it to their calendar. Because I know for me that if it doesn't end up on my Google Calendar, it doesn't exist in my world. You can also have appointment setters calling everybody that opts in to build a relationship, right? Every single step here is building a relationship. Because again, a lot of times, like if you get 400 people to opt in and you spend $2,000 and you call every single one of those and you go from having a 10% show up rate to having a 20% show up rate, you're going to double the amount of sales that you make. Does that make sense? So make sure that you have a follow-up system in place to help move these people from being strangers to acquaintances to being besties. Cool. Any questions on that? All right. So I want all of you guys to win with Facebook ads. Like I said, I've ran ads across many, many different industries, from brick and mortar to coaches to health and wellness to um, real estate, well, specifically investing, food and hobby-based niches, marketing agencies, freelancing, all of it. And I'd love to connect. If you like, I offer a 20-minute free paid ads audit. I will look at your masterclass, any sort of landing pages or ad campaigns that you've already ran, and we'll kind of chit chat to see if hiring agency, like if you're at a point where hiring agency is the right move for you. Or just, if I can't help, give you a few tidbits that can help boost your results so you can get to making more money and eventually be able to hire an agency like mine. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat here. And if not, I really appreciate you staying for this presentation, and hopefully you got some gold nuggets. Before we pop off, feel free to drop your biggest aha in the chat there. I'd love to know what it was. What is your biggest aha?